Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So today I'm going to be doing my review and discussion of Friction by Sandra Brown. And for those of you who don't know, this was the Tales and Teacups book club pick for the months of March and April. So yeah, this was one I had on my shelf for a while now, and it was one I've been eyeing, and I'm like, I think this one, I think a few of you would enjoy reading for the book club because it is a different thrillers. This is the third Sandra Brown book that I've read, and I found all of the two previous ones I've read always to be really fast-paced, and every chapter I feel like ends on a cliffhanger, and this one was no different. It follows the story of a man named Crawford who is in court for fighting for custody of his daughter, and during this hearing a masked gunman barges into the courtroom and fires a shot, and it creates this whole chain of events into a plot maybe that a lot of people don't see coming. So I had really high expectation going into this, and I feel like it did not let me down. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time reading this, and I read this kind of at a difficult time just because I had my comprehensive exams for my master's and like graduating, so I read like the first like 75%, and then I had to put it down for a couple days just because I had so much stuff going on that week. But I probably, like, if I didn't have all this stuff like going on, I probably would have finished it in a couple days. It was just, for me, it was a lot of stop and go. That does not reflect on the book itself. It was more just my kind of what was going on in my life, and I was exhausted, so I'd read like 10 pages and then fall asleep. But this book kept me on the edge of my seat. I have a couple reviews here. Let me just pull them up on my computer that you guys contributed to the Goodreads group page. So one of you, Lisa, mentions that there was no dull moments, and I really like that because I'm tired of reading books with too many unnecessary details. So I totally agree with this. This book, like, I found even with her other books as well, like, you get the information that's needed, and it's always so fast-paced. The plot is always moving. Like, sometimes in chapters it jumps around from different kind of perspectives going on at the same time, and so it's always changing. It's always a dynamic read, and especially the characters as well, I feel like were very dynamic as well. Crawford, he's very complex. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to spoil it in here in terms of just like kind of the things that happen in here, but he has a very interesting history, and you can see kind of the problems that he does talk about, like the issues that he's dealt with. You kind of see how they affected him and how he's trying to face them, and I think that what really makes him complex as well. And also the judge, Holly, I found her to be really interesting, and how she always has to tell the truth, and I like that side of her, how she was very passionate about her job, and just how this kind of tilted her world upside down, and how she adjusted to this as well, I think was really interesting. So overall, I would give this a 4 out of 5 books. It was really entertaining. I really loved it. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and I read the last like 100 pages in one sitting because that's how, like, there was so much twists and turns, and the ending I did not see coming. There was a lot of unpredictable stuff in here, and I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a thriller, that I know like a lot of thrillers now, like, I haven't liked the ones that a lot of people have been talking about, like The Girl on a Train. I was not a big fan of, and I think if you're looking for something that's like a true thriller that is just a fun read, then I highly recommend you check this one out. It was just a lot of fun. Or just this author in general, she does a really good job with kind of keeping you on the edge of your seats and throwing in twists and turns, and, you know, making sure that you're paying attention. So like I said, I highly recommend this book. It was a lot of fun. So now kind of moving on to the spoilers section, so if you don't want to hear any of this stuff, then please click out of this video now. I'm going to be kind of discussing some of the things that happened in here, and also Lisa commented on the Goodreads and kind of her review as well, which I'll kind of do my commentary as well. So again, going back to Crawford, she talks about how she could feel how much the loss of his wife affected him, and then she completely understood the destructive path he took. I appreciate the author showing a man who was brave enough to face his demon and fight his way back to his daughter. Again, this was something that I really liked as well. Like I said, he was complex, he was dynamic, he was flawed, but he was always trying to just kind of overcome everything that was going on, and it was really frustrating. Again, Lisa also commented how it was really irritating when the lead investigators questioned his motive. Like, I actually get very deep anxiety anxiety when you, the reader, know what's like the truth and the characters don't believe it. It's like Harry Potter all over again when they don't believe Voldemort's back, and like it gives me anxiety. So like there was like, again, I had to like put it down because that's how much anxiety it gave me just from that. But that was like really irritating, and like how everyone knew that Crawford wasn't the one who was in like instigated this whole shooting thing, and it was just really irritating, and it was just like, oh my goodness. Like that gave me anxiety, which I don't know, it just like, even my mom, I was telling my mom about this and she totally agrees with like when you know someone's like lying or they don't believe the truth, and it's like, it drives me nuts. So again, kind of going back, she talks about the relationship that formed between Crawford and Holly through such a tragedy was really intense and unexpected for the both of them. The author was able to pull the reader into their chemistry and desire for each other, and you couldn't help but root for them. Again, I agree. I really enjoyed the couple in here. I think, again, they are such different characters, and they're both kind of, they have strengths and weaknesses, and they complement each other when they're together in terms of like kind of picking each other up and kind of making each other whole, and I really like that as well. Like again, I read The Collector by Nora Roberts, which is another thriller that had a romance in there, and I was like, I'm not really here for it, but I was really here for this like relationship. They were a pair of equals. I'd like to say they were both kind of spitfires in their own way, and they complemented each other, so I really enjoyed the relationship in here, and I was not disappointed with how everything turned out. So finally, just kind of talking about the twists and turns, Lisa also says, the book kept me on the edge of my seat. I really wanted to figure out who was behind the shooting and why. It was sad when his dad got killed because I really felt the love Crawford had for him, even though he hated and resented it for so many years. I really didn't see the twist coming at the end when the truth was told about the paternity of Georgia. However, I was very happy with how things worked out in the end because they all remembered it's not about them, but what is best for Georgia. So I totally agree with this. Like the twists and turns in here, like I did not see coming, and like how everything played out when they, like in the last like chapter or so, and like in the beginning, the prologue, or what is it called? Yeah, the prologue, where you kind of get, it's like tidbits of what's going on right after like the shooting that took place and how Crawford like took down Otterman and like all that stuff. Like you don't, like in the back of my head I'm like, where is this like connecting, where does this tie in to the storyline? So I really like how the author kind of did that as well. Again, like the twists and turns, how everything took place, like how Georgia wasn't Crawford's biological daughter, and how he said like essentially like she was his daughter the minute that the doctor put her in his hands. So I really like that family is more than just DNA, and I really like how they kind of shed light on here. And also Lisa makes a good point how they remembered it's not about them but what's best for Georgia, and I really like that as well. My mom actually is in the kind of child custody thing. She is a court investigator for that, so I hear like a lot of the things she talks about that happen in work is what's in the best interest of the child. And I like how this book also, that was kind of a focal point for the court hearing and as well. I really hated the grandparents in here, especially Joe. He just really irritated me, and how he had like this bone to pick with him, and then like he caused this like whole thing and the restraining order and like all this stuff, and how he was like trying to poke Crawford to like make him irritated. Like that drove me nuts. And like if someone sent you like this creepy picture of your daughter at the park like from the woods, like I feel like any concerned parent would freak out and like drive there even though there's a restraining order against it to make sure they're safe. So I don't know, that really irritated me. But yeah, like I said, like how it also kind of raised the point that it's in the best interests of the child, not the best interests of the parents. So yeah. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys participating in this one. I feel like this book was a little bit unique from what I picked for my book club picks, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy that I finally have read all the Sandra Brown books that I own. So I'm very happy about that, but I'll definitely be picking up other books of hers in the future. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.